Hey guys, I wanted to make a video for you regarding your program handbook. The program handbook is a tool for you to use for general policies that surround the Health Information Technology program. More specifically, you'll find policies listed in your syllabus, and policies that apply to the college will be located in the DCCC, policies and procedures document posted in each one of your courses. But the program handbook is used to expose you to these particular policies and hopefully answer questions about how we may handle things as they come up. I'm going to hit the high spots in this video. It's your responsibility to read through the program handbook, and don't hesitate to contact me if you've got any questions about what you're reading. Again, I'm going to hit the high spots because those are where over the years the most questions have come from, but that doesn't mean that you certainly can't email me about a section that we don't cover. So I'm going to get started mostly about with our program description. I know that you've chosen the field of HIM. You still may be wondering what it's all about. Your family may be wondering what it's all about. But what you need to know at this point is located in these bullets for sure, that you've chosen a program that is fully accredited, which means upon completion you'll be able to sit for your RHIT exam, which is the industry standard credential that folks are looking for. So whether you're looking for a job in coding or you're looking to just branch into HIM and potentially work on the legal side or the technology side or in a traditional health information department, you are in a program that leads to the credentials that are national credentials, not state, but they're national credentials that will allow you to work anywhere in the United States. So potentially you could live in North Carolina, but if you found a company, an outsourcing company that is in Florida that required your credentials, you wouldn't have an extra exam. We're going to cover all of that in a module in this particular course where we introduce our professional organization. We talk about the accrediting body that accredits this program. We talk about the RHIT exam. So that kind of just puts you on the path right now of understanding a little bit about the program that you've chosen. Okay, so this particular page talks about admission requirements, which you're already here, so you've already been admitted. If you, for whatever reason, leave us and then want to transfer some credits back in. But primarily I landed on this page for this paragraph right here. Our program requires that the courses that you see listed here, you've got to receive a grade of C or above in the following courses. That would be Med Term 1, Med Term 2, Anatomy and Physiology 1, Anatomy and Physiology 2, English prefix courses, ENG prefix courses, and all of your HIT prefix courses. You have to have a C in those to progress in the program. So what does progression mean? Well, we're going to get into that in just a few minutes. So hold on to the fact that those are the courses that require a C or better. The last paragraph on this particular page talks about admission into the program, and then when we start to schedule your clinicals, you're going to hear from our clinical coordinator about providing information listed here. It's always subject to change year to year, but primarily we're looking for required immunizations, TB tests, criminal background checks, and drug screens. So good to know that you're going to need your own transportation to and from clinical sites, and we'll talk about dress codes and all that kind of good stuff in just a few minutes. One of the most frequently asked questions is about the sequence of courses that you see listed here. This is the entire program at a glance. It's not spelled out anywhere but on one area of the DCC website where our program is. You're always going to want to check there for current information. So if we changed a prerequisite or we adjusted a course, you would know. But this is where we are right now. So if you are on a traditional full-time path, these are the courses you should be registered in semester after semester. What that means is that you started with us, you didn't transfer any courses in, so every semester your schedule is going to mimic this, with some exceptions, meaning you might want to take COM 120 instead of English 111 here, and you want to take English 111 in the summer. Your general education courses have a little bit of flexibility. Everything else that you see, the reason that it is located in first year, first fall, first spring, is there is a prerequisite for it in second year. So, for example, if you were to pass Bio 168, but you were unsuccessful in Bio 169, that will delay your entry into half of second year because you need those courses for our coding classes. You would still be able to come back to us part-time and take the classes that don't require, the HIT classes that don't require Bio 169, but you would then be on a different plan. You wouldn't be full-time anymore. So I caution you to also not add or drop courses without talking to your advisor or consulting me, because we've had in the past where students have registered for what they see here, and then for whatever reason, after Laura or the whoever your advisor is approves it, we find out later that a student may have dropped a class thinking they can pick it up at a different time and take it. It's typically not how it works. And students are finding themselves out of the program for a year off sequence because of that. So I'm going to say that again. Once you've registered and you've had your schedule approved, do not make any changes to it unless you consult with your advisor or me first, because what may seem like an innocent change may actually be very detrimental to your completion in the program. So it's imperative that you're communicating with at least one of us or both of us before you make any schedule changes. What we do know is that there are some people that are in the program full-time and there are some people that are in the program part-time. And part-time people have a very different pathway. It can be one that I've helped create for you. It can be one that Laura created with me and we work together, and it can be very different than what a fellow classmate is in, because we do try to tailor our part-time schedules to fit the needs of that particular student. So if you guys are kind of comparing notes and try to figure out what courses people are in, don't be concerned that someone may be in a different class than you because they just may be on a part-time schedule. So your major takeaways from here is, please do not change your schedule, add or drop courses unless you speak with me and our advisor first. StormTrack will let you do it, but just because it will let you do it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. Okay, so some of you are online and some of you are face-to-face, and other courses out here at Davidson. Obviously, your clinical portions will be face-to-face, so that's why you kind of see a face-to-face attendance policy. We have an online course attendance policy, and we really define it as active participation. Should you go missing, you ghost us, we haven't heard from you, we're going to try to contact you. And I would say, just out of common courtesy, if you've decided to leave the course, just let us know, because we begin to worry about you at a certain point. I'll give you an example. We had 6 students in the fall of 2018 just disappear out of our HIT 110 and 114 courses. Didn't know where they went. They didn't bother to communicate with us. We found out that they were not participating actively in their other courses, but in doing so, you're going to fail those courses instead of getting a withdrawal. It's going to affect your GPA and your financial aid across the board. You will be on probation, and you may not be able to receive financial aid anymore. So just stopping without communicating what your options are is a slippery slope. So if something comes up and you've got to stop out or drop, just please communicate with your advisor or your instructors. We get a lot of questions about clinicals and clinical absences. The best thing to know is that once we get started in clinical, you're going to need to check your individual course syllabi for policies, but our general policy is we expect you to be there. We work really hard to place our students in clinical courses. It is the expectation that you'll treat it like a pre-employment screening. The field of HIM is small. You'll find that it's very heavily networked, and if we send you to clinical and you're late every day or you have multiple absences, you may find yourself not able to become employed in that particular facility. So clinical absences are very important, but you'll get kind of an on-board orientation next year to clinical, but just kind of keep that in mind. Let's see here. So that's a lot about how to behave, seeing individual class syllabi for specifics. This particular page talks about performance standards for health information technology students. You're going to need to read through those and make sure that you can perform the work related to HIM. Your goal may be to work at home, but I'm going to give you an example of if you're immobile, that is something that we need to have a conversation about. Just because you want to work from home doesn't mean that you're able to work that way in a clinical facility, and we need to discuss a little bit about what your needs may be. We've got a code of ethics that exists with DCCC as well as AHIMA, and again, we're going to be going over that in this particular course. We do have liability insurance on each student should you be in clinical and make a mistake. We've got liability insurance that will cover you up to a certain point for an incident that may occur as a result of something that you did in a clinical agency. We will go over this too again about appearance in the clinical setting, but that's also another thing that generally comes up. So in generalities, because each clinical site is different, you need to have a particular business casual. You need to make sure that you're covering visible tattoos, that if you have any piercings or gauges or things like that, we'll probably have to have a conversation about what we can do with those in the clinical setting, because healthcare hasn't necessarily caught up to trends. And you may say to me, well, Heather, I go to the doctor and my so-and-so has tattoos and they have piercings and all this kind of stuff, but that doesn't matter where you see it. It matters what our clinical sites expect of our students and the ability for them to rotate there. And so if our clinical site asks you to cover a visible tattoo, we're going to ask you to cover a visible tattoo. If our site asks you to remove a tongue piercing, we're going to ask you to remove a tongue piercing. So just kind of keep those things in mind as you think about how you're going to navigate that over the next couple of years. Always question yourself, if you're thinking about getting piercings and tattoos, how that may translate into future jobs for you. For those female students, we do kind of have a pregnancy policy. We're certainly going to work with a student if they happen to be pregnant or become pregnant in the program, so there are no worries there. We're very pregnancy friendly. That kind of gets us down to just regular policies. As far as you can see, there is the progression policy right here that does again list C or higher. What you need to know about the progression policy is that if you do get off course, and you'll read that here, that you'll find that you will talk with me, write me a letter, we'll have a conversation about when it's appropriate for you to come back. This talks about readmission into the program, so make sure you read through that. And then we talk about evaluation of our professional practice sites.